Allegiance and the invocation by the chair. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dear Father, we thank you for this day in which we are gathered to do the county's business. Give wisdom and judgment and discerning abilities to those making decisions. Give guidance to those who make presentations to us today, that all of our words and actions may be seen favorable in your eyes. We also give you thanks for the recent rains and moisture to this, your earth. In your name we pray. Amen. This morning we have some celebrating to do, but first a little bit of chair comments. Kudos to the law library trustees here in Finney County and to the supervision of Judge Richard Marquez. Last year, the law library trustees appropriated $25,000 for mediations, of which $22,500 was used to avoid criminal trials in Finney County District Court. Next year, the fund will be set at $27,500 for mediations, and it is a wonderful opportunity to give thanks to the lawyers and to the judges of the law library trustees who provide these professional services and the monies to do so, rather than taxing the taxpayers of Finney County. Mediations are important. We can't try every single case, as we all should know, and these mediations assist substantially in the administration of justice here in the district court. Secondly, I'd like to thank the clerk as the chief election officer and all of her volunteers of an election well run. There was no protest petitions in a closely contested and close election for our school board members. Kudos to the candidates for their accepting the will of the voters as expressed in their vote, and we look forward to the service of those elected on our school board. With that, we have some early business in front of our consent agenda, commissioners, and I would like to read this and then ask for a motion to approve. This is a proclamation. Sandra Kendall began her distinguished service with Finney County Appraiser's Office in 1987, stepping in as a temporary part-time employee during the reappraisal initiative, and from that very first day demonstrated the dedication and work ethic that would define her remarkable career. And through perseverance, talents, and a deep commitment to excellence, Sandra advanced through the ranks from Appraiser 1 to Appraiser 2 to Appraiser 3 Supervisor, and ultimately overseeing the oil and gas department and serving as supervisor of personal property with accuracy, professionalism, leadership that earned the respect of her colleagues and the trust of this, her community. Over the course of 38 years, Sandra has been a go-to person in the office, valued for her integrity, reliability, and her straightforward approach, always willing to provide clear answers and hold the team to these high standards. Beyond her professional contributions, Sandra is known and admired for her love of family, her exceptional quilting showcased annually at the fair, her active involvement with the Daughters of the American Revolution, and her passion for genealogy, all of which reflect her deep sense of history, connection, and creativity to our community. Sandra's retirement marks the end of an era for the Finney County Appraiser's Office. While her presence, guidance, and institutional knowledge will be deeply missed, her legacy of excellence, mentorship, and unwavering dependability will remain an enduring part of their facility and foundation. I, Jerry Schultz, Chair of the Finney County Board of County Commissioners, do therefore hereby declare December 1st, 2025 as Sandra Kendall Day in Finney County, Kansas, and urge all residents to join in celebrating Sandra's extraordinary 38-year career, honoring her many contributions to public service, and wishing her continued happiness and fulfillment in the years to come. Dated this first day of December, 2025. Is there a motion to approve this proclamation?
So moved.
A second.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve this proclamation. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? I'll sign.
probably be a more tearful one. Since this is my day, can I have the heater turned on?
Commissioners, we need to approve the consent agenda, the minutes, accounts payable, and tax roll changes.
So move. Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda without further discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. This morning, we have an opportunity for public comment. Madam Clerk, is anybody registered with you?
Mr. Bob Kreitzer with Western Kansas Showcase.
Bob?
My name is Bob Kreitzer. I'm here today as a representative of the Western Kansas Career Showcase. Kind of twofold position today. Number one, give you a report on the status of where we are in our goal and quest for this year. We have delivered 7 of our 11 designed showcases for this year. We have touched 1,036 students from 32 different school districts, and we've had 147 different businesses attend, which we think is extraordinary. That number of students is really right at our goal. We set our goal as 150 students at each one. That way we have enough time for the students to interact with the businesses as they go about their area. We're very, very excited about the 3 new showcases that we added in the Northwest. We've had over 600 students in the Northwest. We had a showcase in Waukene, one in Oakley, and one in Goodland. And it's been very exciting to see those students turn out, and we think it's going to be very, very good. We're doing that as a contract basis with them, and we anticipate at least one more year of that contract, and then I think they will stand on their own and continue thereafter so that we don't wear out our program director, Mr. Coles. Secondly, on December 12th, which is a week from Friday, we will have our construction trades showcase here in town. And we're going to showcase your health department EMS building. There'll be 4 different contractors there sharing what we do as a construction trades and letting the students walk through and look behind the walls, if you will, at what a construction project is like. And then we'll go into the residential type construction, and hopefully we'll have a little better day than this one. If we have a reasonable weather day, we'll do it on site at the Gurman construction area that they're developing in conjunction with Garden City Community College, which is up across from Crazy House. And if not, they will move that and it will go to the refinery. The third stop will be at Blue Sky Restaurant, and then it will finish with a lunch at about 12:15 to about 1:30 in the refinery, which they'll get a chance to see the entire facility and have lunch. And we would certainly invite the commissioners to join us there and speak with the students and get a feel of what they see when we have these showcases. Without Finney County commissioners, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be able to be this far. So I say thank you for all of the people that are involved and all of the successes. And wouldn't it be fantastic to stand up here, well, somebody else stand up here 38 years from now and celebrate someone who has stayed in Western Kansas, and enjoyed a career. And that's what we're all about. So thank you very much for what you do.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Anyone here else gathered to wish to speak to the commission this morning? Hearing none, we'll move on then to the business items. First on our business agenda is to hear from Development and Administrative Coordinator. Please introduce.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Mackenzie Phillips, Development and Administrative Coordinator. This morning, the Board of County Commissioners is asked to consider a request to waive Section 4.02011 of the Finney County zoning regulations for the property generally located at 7770 East Mary Street to allow for a parcel less than 40 acres to be remained zoned A agricultural district after being subdivided. Burt West with Pro Stake Surveying, on behalf of owners David and Deanne Crace, has requested waiving Section 4.02011 of the Finney County zoning regulations for the property generally located at 7770 East Mary Street to allow for a parcel less than 40 acres to be remained zoned A agricultural district after being subdivided. Section 4.02011 of the Finney County zoning regulations states the following under the list of permitted uses within the A agricultural district. Nonconforming parcels which are a minimum of 5 acres or more and less than 40 acres may be platted by parcel plat procedure as long as the home or agricultural accessory building existed prior to July 1st, 2006. No parcel of 40 acres or less may be subdivided if it is vacant or currently used for agricultural purposes unless property rezoned to a new zoning district. This includes corners of existing crop circles, and that was done by resolution number 2006 and that was adopted on June 5th of 2006. In 2013, this parcel was divided into 3 separate parcels to separate the homes from the pasture land. The land division did not follow the parcel plat procedure, and the properties were not properly rezoned. Before the land was divided, the parcel's total acreage exceeded 40 acres. The land division resulted in the creation of 3 non-conforming parcels that are unplatted and have acreages of less than 40 acres. Listed as follows. The parcel generally located at 2500 North 16 Mile Road is approximately 2.54 acres and zoned RR rural residential and has 1 single family home. Then the parcel generally located at 2510 North 16 Mile Road is approximately 4.96 acres and zoned RR rural residential and has 1 single family home, 1 manufactured home, and an accessory building. Then the parcel generally located at 7770 East Mary Street is approximately 37.48 acres, zoned A agricultural district, and is used for pasture land with an agricultural building. David and Deanne Crace currently own the parcels located at 2510 North 16 Mile Road and 7770 East Mary Street. The owners would like to split off the land from both parcels to create a new lot with a manufactured home currently located on 2510 North 16 Mile Road. The following Section 4.02011 of the Finney County zoning regulations, the parcel located at 7770 East Mary Street is required to be rezoned. However, the current zoning regulations do not have a zone specific for agricultural purposes on land less than 40 acres. The most appropriate zoning district would be RR rural residential, which allows for pasture land as a permitted use. Although the RR district allows for pasture land, the current owners are requesting that the Board of County Commissioners waive the requirements of Section 4.02011 of the Finney County zoning regulations to allow for the property at 7770 East Mary Street to remain in its current zoning district, A agricultural. So the policy impact for this, there are many non-conforming properties within the unincorporated area of Finney County that are currently zoned A agricultural district and less than the minimum requirements of 40 acres. If a waiver request is approved for this location, a precedent might be set for other properties to request similar waivers. So there are five alternatives for you this morning. First, the Board of County Commissioners may approve the waiver request. Two, the Board of County Commissioners may not approve the waiver request and require that the property be rezoned if the owners decide to move forward with the plating process. Three, the Board of County Commissioners may direct staff to present the request to the Planning Commission for recommendation. Four, the Board of County Commissioners may deny the waiver request and direct staff to amend the zoning regulations to create a district that would allow for agricultural uses on properties less than 40 acres. Or five, the Board of County Commissioners may give staff an alternative direction. And staff recommends alternative two to not approve the waiver request and require that the property be rezoned if the owners decide to move forward with the plating process. And Bert West, the surveyor, and David Crace are here this morning.
Questions for Mackenzie, Commissioners?
I do have some questions, Mackenzie. So if it is rural residential, they could still use it as pasture land the same way they have been, the same amount of livestock?
Yes, and since there's so much acreage, they would be allowed to have the same amount of livestock as they have. When it is rural residential and they are using it for pasture land or have like equine or bovine on the property, when they're smaller, it's very limited to only like a few, either equine or bovine. But since it's so large, they would be able to have quite a few on there.
Okay.
Why don't they want to rezone it RR?
I'll let them speak on that if you would like to ask them that question.
Any other questions for Mackenzie? All right. Commissioner Jones, let's hear from then the owner in Bert West. Gentlemen? Morning, sir. Please announce for the viewing
David
public.
Crace, so, owner of the property in question here. We'd just like to keep it ag as far as well, if they want to put a shed up and stuff, you know, you don't go into a lot of the inspections and stuff if you keep it ag. It changes a lot, and my son-in-law wants to rebuild a horse shed out there and stuff and do some improvements to the shed, to where if you keep it as ag, you don't have as much regulations on that building. It's kind of what we're looking at. I did talk to the appraiser. No matter what you zone it, he still has to appraise it as ag, because it is appraised by use. So to me, if it's appraised as ag, why not just keep it as ag?
So the appraiser said it basically won't change your taxable.
No. Biggest thing is on the regulations and stuff. If we want to do some improvements for the livestock and stuff, we don't have to go through a lot of the regulations that they have.
Sir, why would you not have taken this request first to the Planning Commission for recommendation from them before coming to us?
Didn't know we had to with it.
You have to. I'm
Yeah.
asking why you didn't.
So I basically had Mr. West come out to survey everything and get the third plot surveyed on there. And then he said, well, now we got to go through your road and bridge, your whatever department they're called. We have to go through them. So we went through them. She says, well, we can bring it before the commission and see if you guys would do it. Otherwise, we'd have to go back to the Planning Commission. Just trying to make it as simple as possible.
All right. Any other questions, Commissioners?
I don't think waivers typically go through the Planning Commission, correct? And since that was
Go ahead.
what he's looking for, rather than a rezone, they don't typically go through the Planning Commission.
Yes, we don't actually have a specific procedure, like a written procedure on waiver requests. It doesn't give guidance within our regulations on how to handle some of these situations. So typically, they've come just straight before the Board of County Commissioners. Now, since this was they were coming to us with a plating request, it was given the option to them of, okay, well, you can come to the Board of County Commissioners first to see if this is even something that they would want to consider before having to spend all of the amount that they have to do to go through the plating process. So that was the option that was given to them.
Are we unusual in the 40 acres, or is that pretty standard?
That is not standard throughout the state. There's a few other counties that have that large of a requirement of acreage, but there are a lot of the counties that they don't require that much acreage. Like I had talked to somebody the other day from, I believe, like Coffee County, that they only require 5 acres. So we require a lot more acreage in this county.
I think that would be our best option, is to make that available at a lower acreage. I mean, in my opinion, even 20, cutting it half is reasonable. I don't know that we'd want to go down to 5, but.
I think I do agree with you, Commissioner Gurman, about maybe reevaluating that number to getting somewhere closer to what other counties are doing and what also might be more beneficial to our taxpayers and our citizens of Finney County. I'm just not a real big red tape type of a guy, so.
The only thing is that would delay Mr. Crace, I guess, but.
The biggest thing on this is my grandson's trying to put a bigger modular home out there. And if he has to have a loan, if he has to have acreage, that's kind of why we're gonna, we was trying to do this after the first year. So that's where we're at.
I don't have any further comments other than the fact that I'd like to make a motion to approve his waiver.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the waiver request as presented in the presentation. Is there any further discussion? Dave, I'll be voting no, and the reason for it is that I think that we should not be dividing up these parcels without an approved plat. The approved plat generally comes from the Planning Commission, and I think that that's what we should do. And I'll let the other commissioners comment before we take a vote.
We have so many properties out in the county that are set, we could use this as an example that, and if we don't have a system set up, we'll have this issue a lot. And so I think if we want to change the acreage requirement, let's do it when we're doing looking at our zoning rules. But if we just keep doing individual things, we're going to be busy.
That's my thought as well. I think approving this is just going to open up a lot more requests, so.
All right, then we'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion fails 3-2.
I would like to make a motion that we, option number 4, deny the waiver request and direct staff to amend zoning regulations to create a district that would allow for agricultural uses on properties less than 40 acres, an amount of acreage determined by comparing to other areas.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt alternative number 4 as stated in the motion. Is there any further discussion?
Would this motion then get him down the road to what he wants to have done? Mr. Crace?
Yes.
Okay,
Not quickly, but.
but we'll get him there.
We'll
Okay,
get him there.
okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Not the news you wanted today, but we'll work on it, sir.
My question is, can we go ahead and divide the parcels? Because I know the question is the pasture on what it is zoned as. So can we go ahead and move ahead with going ahead and get the 3 parcels approved?
That would be a question for Mackenzie, I think.
So that was the reason for the waiver request today, to allow for him to go ahead and plot it without having to rezone the property. So with the Board of County Commissioners directing staff to go in this direction, Mr. Crace could start the process for plating, but it would not be able to be approved until this new zoning district is created and he goes through the rezoning process as well.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
Okay,
At
thank
least
you.
I got some direction.
Yes, and thanks for your letter. That helped a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Explained your situation. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is the approval of the LEPC roster. Chief, how are you, sir?
Good, sir. How are you?
Once again, kudos and thank you for all your presentations during the half-cent sales tax presentations. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
What can we do for you today?
What you have before you is a request to approve, consider and approve the 2025 Finney County LEPC, which stands for Local Emergency Planning Commission, along with the roster, along with authorization to submit the roster to the state, bylaw updates and annual required certification materials, and it needs to be submitted to the Kansas Commission on Emergency Planning and Response, or CEPR. In accordance with, there's a lot of acronyms in this, Emergency Planning Committee Right to Know Act, and the Superfund Amendments Reauthorization Act, or EPCRA, SARA, and it falls under Title III requirements. A little bit of background, the EPCRA was authorized by Title III of the SARA, and it was passed in 1986 in response to concerns regarding the environmental and safety hazards posed by the storage and handling of toxic chemicals. These concerns were triggered by a disaster in 1984 in India caused by the accidental release of toxic chemicals, the release which killed or severely injured more than 2,000 people. Under the EPCRA, the LEPC's main responsibility is to develop an emergency response plan to prepare and protect the community and emergency responders from chemical accidents. In addition, LEPCs have other responsibilities directed by their states and federal agencies to develop community preparedness plans for all hazards, which may include planning in response to natural hazards, for example, tornadoes, hurricanes, not here, or flooding, including pandemics. In Kansas, the CEPR, established under Kansas statutes, Chapter 65, Article 57, and the EPCRA is responsible for implementing federal emergency planning and Community Right to Know Act provisions in Kansas, and serves as the technical advisor and information clearinghouse for state and federal hazardous materials programs. EPA guidance in Chapter 1, Section 301 of EPCRA establishes the requirement that county commissioners nominate members for approval by the state. Additionally, Kansas CEPR policies require LEPCs to submit updated memberships annually to remain active and compliant. The LEPC is further responsible for multiple statutory duties, including but not limited to reviewing the local emergency operations plan annually and submitting documentation of updates, receiving and managing Tier 2 hazardous chemical reports, establishing procedures for public access to hazardous materials information, facilitating emergency notification process, coordinating hazardous materials planning, publishing an annual information availability notice, conducting and reporting exercises, finally completing and submitting the annual LEPC compliance certification form. To meet these legal requirements, the LEPC must maintain a roster that is current, compliant, and reflective of the emergency support functions-based structure the committee uses for planning and coordination. The proposed 2025 roster includes balanced representation across required sectors and aligns with EPA examples of compliant LEPC membership models. The alternatives you have before you, the Finney County Board of County Commissioners can approve the 2025 LEPC roster as submitted and authorize submission of the roster, bylaw updates, and the required annual certification materials to the Kansas CEPR, or the Finney County Board of County Commissioners can deny the 2025 LEPC roster as submitted and not authorize submission of the roster, bylaw updates, and the required annual certification to the SEPR. Just a couple other notes. Some of the other requirements that are listed above have already been taken care of, and they're on your website under the Emergency Management tab. That includes the community right to know information and the public notice that's required annually by the state. The recommendation from the LAPC is to approve the 2025 Finney County LAPC roster and authorize submission of the updated member list, updated bylaws, annual public notice of information availability, and the LAPC compliance certification form. This action ensures that Finney County remains fully compliant with state and federal requirements, preserves eligibility for emergency planning resources, and maintains effective multidisciplinary committee dedicated to protecting the community. There's no fiscal impact associated with the approval of the LAPC roster. LAPC operations are supported by existing emergency management resources, and compliance activities fall within normal administrative duties. This is just purely to get us back compliant. We haven't been compliant in Finney County since 2021. So you have attachments that include the most current LAPC roster based on the last meeting, bylaw updates, and the compliance checklist for your review and information. And I would love to answer any questions that you may have.
There are 13 groups identified here. How big is the roster? I didn't count them.
So the roster is kind of a moving target because of the folks that show up each time, but we're trying to make it mirror the ESF functions that we use under FEMA and our emergency planning. So it meets the state statute requirement and the federal requirements of the LAPC, but it also helps us with our planning if there's a
All the
natural
ones
disaster.
you have listed have agreed to do this.
They all show up to the meeting, so silence is consent, I guess, on that.
I think it looks like a very capable group, and I would offer a motion if you're ready for that.
Let's let everybody ask any questions that they might have. Commissioners, especially our former law enforcement folks.
I don't have any questions. I used to be on the LEPC, so I know exactly how it functions and works.
I'm on the LEPC, and I appreciate Chief Pruitt and Chief Ursick stepping up and being chair and co-chair. As you stated, this has not been updated in 4 years.
Yes, sir.
So that speaks highly of your leadership and some of the things that you guys are going through. I've read the last group of emails on the regulations, and I greatly appreciate the LEPC moving forward than staying stale. So great leadership.
I don't know that I knew what I was getting into when I volunteered for it, so I'm just going to be quite honest
I was
and
there.
transparent.
Everyone knows, whoever had to hear one of my speeches, is that people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. This is good community work at planning in the event that we have a natural disaster and also compliance with the law. We need this committee, and it needs to be functional. So, Madam Vice Chair, your motion.
I move to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve alternative number 1, update the membership list, updated bylaws, annual public notice, and the LEPC compliance certification forms, and authorizing the chairman to sign.
Correct.
And your second authorizes the chair to sign. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. I'll sign. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from the sheriff. For those who don't know who this next presenter is, I'm sure he will announce for all of you, and hope that you meet him here and not out on the street.
Steve Martinez, Finney County Sheriff. Today I come to you, the governing body, asking you to consider and approve the purchase of a body scanner for the Finney County Jail for a total of $175,799. The Finney County Jail continues to experience increased risks related to contraband entering the secure facility, as well as challenging in identifying potential medical issues upon intake. A full-body scanning system would allow the staff to detect weapons, drugs, and other dangerous items concealed on incoming inmates and reduce the reliance on labor-intensive physical searches. Several peer correctional facilities that have adopted similar technology report substantial reduction in contraband introduction and improved staff and inmate safety. Additionally, the proposed scanner includes thermal detection capability, which would support medical screening at intake by identifying potential fevers or illness before an inmate is assigned to a housing unit. This feature would enhance early detection of contagious illness, assisting both jail and contracted medical staff in preventing communicable disease spread inside the facility. In accordance with procurement requirements, the Sheriff's Office advertised a request for bids on July 15, 2025 through the Garden City Telegram and accepted responses until August 1st, 2025 at noon. One bid was received from Tech 84 Advanced Security Screening in the amount of $175,799. Staff have reviewed the vendor's proposal and confirmed that the equipment meets operational and security needs. The Sheriff's Office initially proposed funding the purchase using accumulated balances in the jail commissary and telephone fund. However, per auditor guidance, excess funds in the jail telephone and any accumulated commissary fund must first be transferred into the law enforcement fund, and the final purchase must be made from the law enforcement fund, subject to that fund's budget authority. The remaining portion of the purchase would be paid for from equipment reserves. This approach ensures compliance with fund use restrictions, preserves audit integrity, and aligns with the statutory budgeting requirements. The alternatives before you are alternative number one, the governing body may approve the acceptance of the bid from Tech 84 Advanced Security Screening in the amount of $175,799, authorize a transfer of $100,000 from the jail telephone fund into the law enforcement fund, and authorize $100,000 to be paid for from the law enforcement fund, with the remaining $75,799 paid from equipment reserves, consistent with the auditor direction. 2, the governing body may deny the purchase of the body scanner and give the staff further direction. 3, the governing body may give staff further direction on procurement, funding, structure, or timing of the request. Staff's recommendation is for alternative 1, approve the purchase of the Tech 84 body scanner, authorize the required transfer of funds into the law enforcement fund, and authorize the purchase to be executed from the law enforcement fund, with the remaining balance paid from equipment reserves in alignment with auditor guidance. The total project cost is $175,799. In accordance with auditor direction, accumulated balances in the jail telephone fund, and if necessary, the commissary fund, may be used only after a transfer into the law enforcement fund, from which the actual expenditure must occur. Under the recommended approach, $100,000 would be transferred from the jail telephone fund into the law enforcement fund, and $75,799 will be paid from equipment reserves. Adequate funds exist in both sources to support the purchase, and the transaction will occur within the law enforcement fund's budget authority, ensuring compliance with the statutory and audit requirements.
Questions, Commissioner?
Steve, if we approve that and you get it, once the new jail's built, you'll be able to transfer this equipment to the new jail?
Yes.
Okay.
Sheriff, is this the only company that we received bids or that responded to the bids?
Yes.
Thank you. And thanks for your patience on putting this out and bidding this out as we went through the jail bond election process.
Madam Counselor, is there any way that we can make sure that the pictures that are taken with this scanner are not public records? When I reviewed the examples from Tech, I don't think those should be public. What's your opinion on that? Or do you need some time to think it over?
I'm gonna need some time to think that one over, so a little bit, and I'll see what I can do.
Mr. Chair, Sheriff, are they actually taking pictures, or is it just a scan? There's no pictures maintained, is that correct?
I understand if that's how that works.
So,
Yes.
so it's just a scan?
Just a scan,
No
correct.
pictures
No
maintained?
print, yeah, I don't believe there's a printout or anything, so.
You need 2 motions, Mr. Chairman, one to transfer the funds and one to purchase it.
Correct.
I move that we transfer the funds to the law enforcement fund of $100,000 from the phone, or what,
The telephone fund and.
telephone
okay.
fund.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to transfer the funds within the budget from jail telephone to the law enforcement fund. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next.
Oh, you want me to make the next one too?
Yeah.
Well, I move that we buy the scanner for the sheriff's department.
All right, to be clear, that'd be $75,799 be paid from equipment reserves for a total cost of $175,799. Is that your motion, sir?
That's correct.
Is there a second? There is. And is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Go get your scanner.
Sheriff, I appreciate you going through and making sure that you're doing it the right way with the,
Okay, yep. I want to do it the right way. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So,
that's great.
thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Nolan Till. Nolan?
Morning, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Nolan Till, Director of Maintenance and Special Projects. Today I bring to you I'm asking the Board of County Commissioners to consider and approve staff to proceed with a claim reconciliation and repair planning for multiple county buildings damaged on July 6th. There's an error throughout this whole thing, 2025. That was actually this July, but I guess 4 or 5 months ago is too long for me to remember. So, but a little background on that event. On July 6, 2025, 11 Finney County facilities experienced severe hail damage during a major storm. After a roof claim was submitted, Travelers Insurance completed an updated damage and repair estimate issued on October 20th, 2025. This report updates the expected repair costs, depreciation amounts, and current value of each damaged building. A full summary of these losses is available on page 35 of the updated Xactimate file, which should be one of your attachments. The updated estimate breaks down the cost of labor, materials, and all roof components. It also explains how much value has been deducted from each item based on its age and expected lifespan. For example, roof coatings that typically last 10 years are shown with 90% depreciation, and older exhaust fans with a 20-year lifespan show a 60% depreciation. These details help ensure the county and contractor agree on correct scope of work and allow travelers to settle on the claim accurately. So to kind of break it down for everyone, summary of the traveler's insurance payment information. The total replacement cost is going to be just over $1,859,315.45. That's the full cost and repair of all the damaged roofs. Recoverable depreciation is $498,253.01. That's the amount that can be reimbursed after the work's done. Doesn't mean we'll get the full amount, but we could get up to that amount. The actual cost value is $1,360,937.39. This is the current value of the damaged items after depreciation is applied. The county deductible was $610,607.28. And then payments that have already been issued to the county from Travelers Insurance include $750,330.11. That payment, Travelers Insurance sent an initial payment of $750,330.11, which is deposited in the Building Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund. Travelers has removed the deductible requirement for this claim. As a result, Finney County will cover the upfront cost of the roof repairs and replacement once work is completed and verified. The county can receive an additional $498,253.01 in recoverable depreciation. Maintenance staff, together with DV Douglas Roofing, inspected 28 county facilities to evaluate the extent of the hail damage. That review confirmed widespread roof deterioration and storm-related impacts. Based on the severity of the damage and ongoing maintenance issues, staff determined that 11 of those buildings required roof repair or full roof replacement to prevent further deterioration and address long-term facility needs across Finney County. So before you, I have 4 alternatives. Alternative 1, the Board of County Commissioners may approve staff to proceed with a claim reconciliation and repair replacement plan for all 11 county buildings damaged on the July 6, 2025 hail event. Estimated overall cost, $1,859,315.45, with an opportunity to receive up to $498,253.01 additionally from travelers. Alternative 2, the Board of County Commissioners may decline to approve the staff to proceed with this claim reconciliation and repair replacement plan for any of the county buildings damaged on the July 6, 2025 hail event. Alternative 3, the Board of County Commissioners may provide an alternative to staff to proceed with the claim reconciliation and repair replacement plan for a selected few county buildings damaged on that event. So just if you want to pick and choose 5 of them versus the 11. And then the fourth alternative, the Board of County Commissioners may table the consideration for a future meeting to allow for more staff review, legal review, and further comparison on building-specific scope values. Recommendation, staff recommends alternative 1. The Board of County Commissioners may approve staff to proceed with the claim reconciliation, repair, and replacement plan for all 11 buildings damaged on the hail event. That's an estimated cost of $1,859,315.45, with that opportunity to receive $498,253.01 from travelers. The fiscal impact for this, the roof repairs and replacement would be paid out of the Building Maintenance Capital Reserve Fund. The GL code is 171165510, and the current balance in there currently is $2,936,910.86. That's including the $750,000 that we received earlier from travelers. If you available to answer any questions, we also have Trent Speck with Iron Insurance here. If you have any questions for him as well.
I got plenty of them for him.
I'd like to know how you got an insurance company to waive the deductible requirement.
Trent? Probably Trent's work right there.
Yeah, but Merry Christmas, huh?
Excuse me, Trent Speck, Iron Assurance. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Commissioners, for all you do. The question was, how did you waive the deductible? The deductible was $600,000, I think, is in that sheet that Nolan's provided. So that was already taken out. So how they do big claims like this is instead of you paying $600 and them giving you $1.3 million back, they're just going to say, hey, we'll pay you $750. We've already taken the $600,000 out. Was that your question?
Well, it wasn't really waived then?
No.
Okay. Gotcha.
I do have a question related off of personal experience with my roof. So not too long ago, I replaced my roof, and I checked with my insurance agent and found out that if I upgraded my roofing materials, my yearly premium would be reduced by basically the amount of the cost to upgrade it, and that would be a yearly reduction. Is there any possibility that repairing these roofs, is there any upgraded materials that could be used that would reduce our future yearly premiums for insurance of our roofs?
Yeah, so on personal roofs, you're probably talking about level 3 and level 4.
Correct.
How the insurance carriers kind of rate the roofs,
Right.
Impact resistant, et cetera. On stage 4 or impact resistant, you get a really good premium on that. On commercial roofing, it's already impact resistant. It's way more sustainable, whereas thicker layers. So it's not really apples to apples. Kevin, is more apples to oranges. Commercial is thicker, it takes that wind, it takes that hail way better than a personal home. So
there's not really
yes
option available kind of to upgrade, because our materials are already upgraded.
Yeah.
There's not a further upgrade that would reduce our yearly premium.
No, not really. I think, I'm sure a question that Mr. Schultz will ask me is what happens to our premium going forward? I think you look at it one of two ways. The first way is what happens if I don't replace them? Well, travelers could say, well, we know what those conditions are. We're only going to cover them at ACV going forward, or we might not cover them at all. You replace them, they're going to say, hey, well, we know that they're done. We have the pictures. We've sent someone out to make sure that we have the receipts. We want to replace them at replacement cost because they are done and finished. So,
thank you.
What is the circumstance by which we would contract with a roofer to do this work and then come back to you with the cost of repair? I think you guys insure cash value or cost of repair, whichever is less, correct?
So you have replacement cost on there, so they've already paid you on actual cash value. So if you don't do anything to the roofs, you've already been paid on that. Now, if you come back and you finish them, that's what Nolan kind of mentioned, that you can recover up to $490,000 additional money. Now, I know D.B. Douglas and I, Derek, Nolan, and Kyle all met, and Shustin from Iron Insurance, and a lot of that, some of that work can be done in-house, and we made sure Nolan said, hey, make sure you keep the receipts on that, because if D.B. Douglas isn't doing it, you still need the receipts so you can receive that money back. So did that help answer it, Jay? I don't know if I answered
I
it.
think that I wanted to make sure that we don't get in a circumstance where we've settled with travelers and then our actual cost of repair is much greater. So, Nolan, can you address that? Have we got any contracts to do the work? How are we going to determine what our out-of-pocket's going to be for the?
So if approved, depending on one of these alternatives, we would go out for requests for qualifications, requests for proposals. DV did assist us with a lot of this. They've already provided one based on travelers' information. So we would just go out, see if we can get an additional, if you wanted to tag team it with multiple contractors or just the one contractor to do all of them, or if we wanted to limit it to, you know what, we don't think this roof really needs the repair right now. We're only going to go with 6 of these roofs from the list. So,
Sir.
I'm scanning down through the buildings now where we're gonna remodel the one across the street.
Yeah.
That one's not.
that was not included.
Okay. Gee, that was.
That does need it, but that was not included.
I was hoping that was the case.
But we did get payment for its cash value, correct?
Yes, yeah, you got paid on the ACV. You will have the opportunity to make that deductible, or the depreciation difference, which is replacement cost.
Okay, I did not see it on the list.
Yeah, it's
You feel comfortable that it's there?
that we got paid through it.
Did the law enforcement center get its actual cash value loss
Oh.
included in the 750,000?
No, we didn't include that in the list, so that wasn't a part of it.
So why isn't the law enforcement or roof been paid by travelers?
You guys on the 11 roofs, the law enforcement center wasn't included on those 11.
It was?
It was not.
Why not?
It was insured, wasn't it?
I think at that time, we considered with the whole remodel LEC that we didn't want to include that, and that would be this.
Okay, I'm not following because it's our biggest building and the biggest roof, and it should have been insured for its actual cash value and should have been paid.
So on the July 4th claim, it was not included. So it was not included in, I don't believe they went up there and inspected it for damages.
Anybody have any idea why?
Do not.
Why would we settle with travelers now when we haven't got a settlement on the largest building we own?
That is correct.
It's not too late to do it, though.
No, you can have travelers come back out and inspect that roof if you want. I think there's travelers has been really good to work with, I think, as Nolan would agree. But yeah, we can have, I think they looked at 10 or 11 roofs that day. So if you want travelers to come back and look at that roof, and this claim is not going to close just because you guys accept this today. If you guys want them to come out, they'll come out, and we can add, and this can be adjusted to it.
Mr. Chair, I think that would be a great move for us to do.
I do too.
Well, do you want to accept this, or do you want to just ask the folks to go do the evaluation on the LEC?
Well, I think we accept it with the qualifications that they're gonna come back and take a look at it.
All right.
Trent, if we did the inspection on LEC, even though we know that roof's going to be replaced, and that comes back as damaged and we can get insurance, would that ultimately increase the premium amount that we'd end up facing at the end?
There's a fine line there, and I think that's what Gary saw, I think, when we went through this, is if you know you're going to replace it through the bond, you can have travelers pay for it. Now, ultimately, that might come back and raise your premium because this, how insurance can be impacted is there's a lot of different factors, you know, but one of the factors is loss history. So having a $1.8 million hit on your loss history, or having a $3 million loss or impact on your loss history, I think that's what he ultimately said. Well, if it's going to be redone, you know, there might be some changes to that building, that the roof might have some changes to it in itself. So I think that's why we waited. But if you want us to go back, we're more than happy to go back. On the premium, you know, that's my job to go back and negotiate. We're on a flat fee schedule right now. On the impact itself, you know, going back and negotiating with Travelers, saying, hey, Finney County's been super good the last 10 years for you guys, and not just looking at it as a one-year hit, but over a span of 10, 15 years, Finney County has been very good to them.
You know, it's possible that if they inspect it and then we get a payout from them, that even if there ended up being, because of the claim, an increase in premium, that the payout for repair might be far greater than what an increase in premium might be. So overall, we might end up with a plus, as if we don't.
Numbers.
Yeah.
I just cannot accept the proposal without the law enforcement center included. We don't know what we're getting, and we shouldn't piecemeal this thing, in my opinion. So, commissioners, you have in front of you Nolan's proposals. We need to act on them or discuss them some more.
You have a timeline or deadline or?
No, Travelers doesn't require a timeline. What they're going to require is just what your plan is, so and the know-how, so they can adjust it. Now, obviously, we're going into winter time, and you can't replace some of them roofs during winter time. So, coming March, April, they just want to have a timeline.
Well, personally, I think we just need to look at the numbers again, since you're not going to do it this winter anyway. So.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we approve alternative 3, so that we may provide an alternative to staff proceed with claim reconciliation repair replacement plan for selected few county buildings. And I think the alternative that we're recommending is that the LEC gets inspected and included in this plan.
Because I'm not certain how remodel of the LEC is going to affect its roof. That part I haven't seen, that there's going to be any openings in that roof as part of the remodel.
Actually, I think I want to amend my motion, because I'm looking at alternative 4 now, which is the table consideration to a future meeting to allow additional staff review, legal review, or further comparison of building-specific scope values. I think that that's the motion I would actually like to make.
And I'll second that. And Chair, I agree with you. I don't see much change on that roof with the remodel.
So let's get it repaired.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Any other comments, commissioners, before we vote on the motion, which is to adopt alternative number 4? I want to send a clear message to Travelers. We want to work with you. But I think all of our property, especially our biggest buildings, should be included in the evaluation in order to resolve the claim. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll table it for now. Let's come back with some new numbers.
All right, thank you.
Also, Nolan, if you may, and Mr. Administrator, I would like to see cost estimates from someone who's going to, that helped us with the claim, if it's Douglas, whoever, that their cost of repairs fits within the proposals from Travelers for payment.
Yeah, I can provide that from DV.
Would you please? Well, since we just put off getting any money into the public coffer, let's talk about spending some, sir.
Good morning.
Morning.
Larry Brungart, Interim Road and Bridge Director. This morning, the governing body is asked to consider and approve the purchase of 2 motor graders for the Public Works Department to replace 2 end-of-life units in the current fleet. A little background, the Public Works Department operates a fleet of motor graders that are essential for maintaining more than 1,200 miles of county roadway, 990 are gravel. The 2 units within the fleet, Unit 504 and Unit 512, have exceeded their useful life and are now generating increased maintenance costs, downtime, and reduced operational reliability. Both units are 2010 Cat 140M graders with 17,577 hours on Unit 504 and 15,623 hours on Unit 512. To address this, staff sought replacement pricing using Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing. Foley Equipment provided a quote for two 2025 Caterpillar 140-15J motor graders at $372,240.13 each, for a total of $744,480.26, inclusive of a 7-year, 7,000-hour extended warranty. Cooperative purchasing ensures the county receives competitive bidding pricing consistent with procurement best practices. Regarding the disposal of the two outgoing units, Foley provided trade-in values of $40,300 for Unit 504 and $42,100 for Unit 512. Staff also evaluated the potential to sell the units at auction based on comparable sales provided by Gavel Roads. Machines similar to the Cat 140M graders have sold between $52,000 and $155,250, depending on condition and hours. The county has previously achieved strong results through auction, including the sale of a 1994 Cat 140G with major mechanical deficiencies for $27,600. The auction process allows the county to set reserve minimums, reducing risk and potentially increasing net proceeds. Public Works planned this replacement purchase during preparation for the fiscal year 2026 budget. One grader replacement was budgeted within the 2026 Road and Bridge Fund, and the second was planned to be funded through the Special Equipment Fund. Staff are requesting approval to proceed now due to the anticipated price increases beginning in January of 2026 related to the new tariffs, estimated at $18,910.57 per unit, or $37,821.14 total if the county delays purchase into the new year. The requested action aligns with the county's long-term fleet management needs, avoids a known cost increase, and reduces operational risk by replacing two critical pieces of heavy equipment before failure. The alternatives are, number one, the governing body may approve and authorize the county administrator to sign a contract with Foley Equipment in the amount of $744,480.26, with $370,000 paid from the 2026 Road and Bridge Fund, GL number 002-21-5651, and $374,480.26 from the Special Equipment Fund, GL number 166-00-5651, and approve the trade-in of the units 504 and 512 for a total of $82,400. Number two, the governing body may approve and authorize the county administrator to sign the contract with Foley Equipment in the amount of $744,480.26, with the $370,000 paid from the 2026 Road and Bridge Fund and $374,480.26 from the Special Equipment Fund, and direct staff to begin the auction process for units 504 and 512, allowing the county to set a reserve minimums. Or number three, the government body may deny approval of the purchase and give staff further direction. Recommendation, staff recommends alternative number two, approve the purchase and authorize the county administrator to sign the contract with Foley Equipment, funded as outlined, and direct staff to auction units 504 and 512. The fiscal policy impact, the total purchase cost is $744,480.26. Staff budgeted the replacement of one grader in the 2026 Road and Bridge Fund, allocating $370,000. The remaining $374,480.26 will be paid from the Special Equipment Fund, which currently has a balance of $2,006,716.07. If the governing body selects alternative number one, accepting trade-in values will reduce the net amount paid from the Special Equipment Fund to $292,080.26. If purchase is delayed until after January 1st, 2026, staff anticipate a price increase of $18,910.57 per grader, resulting in the additional $37,821.14 in total cost. Funding both graders through the combination of the Road and Bridge Fund and the Special Equipment Fund is fully supported by current budget appropriations and fund balances. We also have Colby with Foley Equipment here today, and if you have any questions.
Explain to me the process of using the Sourcewell cooperative purchasing in lieu of competitive bids.
So it's a agency that we source through that collects best statewide contracts for large equipment. And it's just a process. We can make sure if we went out for bid, we'd probably get 3 or 4 bids, where this goes out through the entire state. So it's something for larger equipment purchases that we usually use.
Do you feel comfortable that the taxpayers are getting a competitive bid on these 2 graders?
Absolutely.
Just a couple quick. Number one, we used to lease them. We don't even consider that anymore. Foley used to have a long-term lease where we'd lease them for, I don't know, 10 years or something like that, and they covered all the expenses of maintenance and everything on them, other than natural wear and tear. But we're at a pretty reduced interest rate. It was a pretty good deal. I don't know if they even offer it anymore.
Have to come over to the microphone, sir, and you have to introduce yourself for the viewing public.
I'm Colby Dunnigan. I took Larry Cummings' position in August when he retired. Kind of a background of me too. I was with Foley Equipment for 2 years before this as a product application specialist doing training, equipment training, and just kind of knowing the equipment and competitive equipment. Spent 12 years in dirt construction before I came to Foley Equipment as well. So to answer your question, Larry, we don't do that anymore. We have different options, but not in particular. A long-term rent is more what we would do now to cover all the costs and that. And basically, from what we've seen, the rates on it are high enough to where it doesn't make sense for a lot of customers, especially government entities. We have different financial programs that we can use, regular loans, different lease options, stuff like that, but not the one in particular that you're talking about anymore.
Okay. Second question. We decided to go ahead and do the auction and set the minimum at your price, and we don't receive that minimum. Will you guys still stand by that?
Yeah.
Other questions, sir?
I was awake during budget time, and I remember Mr. Meager making comment about rebuilding these, that CAT will take these back and rebuild them. Have these 2 older models been rebuilt or sent back for?
They have not.
Have we looked into that process?
Not since I've been in this position. I don't know what they did in the past. I don't think so.
I do recall.
It's really expensive to do it.
Yeah, I know they had talked about doing it with one of our loaders, the loader the last loader we bought when we traded it in. That was a discussion. I don't know why they decided not to do that. I wasn't in on that decision, so I'm not sure what. Oh, sorry.
Mackenzie Phillips, Development Administrative Coordinator at Public Works. So we have looked at that in the past, and I think the loader was probably the most recent one that Larry was referencing. And the cost was about the same. It wasn't too much less than purchasing new. So to us, it weighed out better to have a new piece of equipment than having a rebuilt piece. And I bet Cole can talk about that a little more too.
Graders they're probably on the higher end of rebuild prices. There's a lot of different parts in there, a lot of things to rebuild. Also, if you rebuild it, they do come with a warranty. I think it caps out at 4 or 5 years, where a new one, you can get a 7-year, 7,000-hour warranty. So a lot of counties have looked at the difference, and a lot of them kind of err on the side of getting a new machine and keeping it in warranty for longer, so.
Another question, since you're there at the mic. You said tariff increases on the cost, 37,000 or something. I thought these things were built in the US.
So we have factories everywhere. Our graders are still made in Little Rock, Arkansas, but we also have other pieces that are made abroad. So they're spreading that throughout everything. So instead of hitting one with a 20% increase, all of the product families are kind of sharing that.
And Cat won't just swallow that increase?
We have asked, and the answer was no. Unfortunately.
Expected bigger dividends than them on my stock. But no, these new machines, are they basically the same as the other M's or
A little,
style?
yeah, a little bit heavier, a little bit more horse, just because you're going up in new generations, but pretty well the same machine.
Do we need that much of weight and horsepower, or can you spec a smaller machine? Or I'm sure you guys have looked at all this stuff, but.
We have, the smaller machine, when I was talking to our road and bridge supervisor, you know, we have some of the 120s. That was his comment was that those were just a little bit light, he felt like, and so that these were the preferred size yeah.
And I'll just add, 120s are great for maintaining the top of the road, but if you have ditch work that you need to do, the 140 is definitely a better option with weight and horsepower, as far as that goes, so. 120s have their place, but.
Answered all my questions.
Well, you know, we used to have a commissioner that bought heavy equipment and was an expert on it. And I didn't send this to him for review or comment, but in the back of my ear, experience is a great teacher. But I understand the leasing concept, but these were ones which we have the capital funds with which to do it. We don't need to refinance them. We'll put them in the fleet. My hope is that we get 14,000 hours out of both of them.
Yeah, 17,000 hours for a machine is
It's really good.
Yes.
It's a statement to the quality and care of the people that are driving these machines that they last that long. And at times, I know that graders on our good sound roads don't have a lot of burden, but they're still being operated for a great number of hours. Commissioners, I'm inclined to purchase these two graders as suggested by staff, and to withhold for auction.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I move that we select option number 2.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve alternative number 2, which includes the purchasing of both from the funds identified, and to have those units and the candidate to sell them with set minimum reserves. Any further comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Yeah, I operate a 140H.
Good machine still.
So I know it. That'll last a long time.
Well, these guys aren't going anywhere. They want to spend some more money.
I'm gonna leave some cards with you guys. That way, if any of you have any questions for me, you can.
Please leave them with the clerk.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, second piece of equipment, governing body is asked to consider and approve the purchase of a KM-T2 asphalt recycler for the Public Works Department in the amount of $102,596.50. Background, the Public Works Department continues to experience rising material costs and seasonal limitations associated with traditional pothole and asphalt patching methods. Currently, the county relies on a hot mix asphalt purchase from local providers. In 2024, the county spent $22,838 and has spent $9,860 to date in 2025 on hot mix asphalt for routine repairs. These expenditures fluctuate based on plant availability, weather, and market conditions, and are expected to continue rising. During development of the 2026 road and bridge budget, staff evaluated cost-saving measures and operational efficiencies. One of the strategies identified with the acquisition of a asphalt recycling machine, allowing the county to repurpose existing asphalt millings into usable patching material. This technology enables staff to perform high-quality asphalt repairs, including during colder months, reducing dependency on plant-produced hot mix, and increasing the county's self-sufficiency. The proposed KM-T2 asphalt recycler recorded at $102,596.50 through the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program, utilizes a controlled heating and rejuvenating process to convert stockpile millings into viable asphalt patching material. The vendor quote from Craftco Incorporated includes the machine and a pallet of asphalt cement, which is necessary for the recycling process. As part of budget planning for fiscal year 2026, staff anticipated the purchase occurring in late 2025 because the recycler will reduce future hot mix expenditures. The 2026 budget already reflects a reduction in the hot mix line item. Acquiring this machine this year aligns with the planning assumption and positions of the county to begin generating immediate operational savings. Staff have reviewed the specifications and confirmed the machine meets the department's needs for reliability, capacity, and compatibility with existing asphalt maintenance operations. I would like to add that the patch truck that we currently have is a 1975 that has just spent a large amount of time in the shop so that we could get it out on our last patching project. So, alternative number one, the governing body may approve the authorize the county administrator to sign the contract for the purchase of a KM-T2 asphalt recycler from Craftco Incorporated in the amount of $102,596.50 to be paid from the Road and Bridge Fund, GL number 002-21-5651. Alternative number two, the governing body may deny approval of the purchase and give staff further direction. Or number three, the governing body may give staff further direction on procurement, timing, and funding for the asphalt recycling machine. Recommendation, staff recommends alternative number one, approve the purchase of the KM-T2 asphalt recycler from Craftco Incorporated for $102,596.50, funded through the Road and Bridge Fund, GL number 002-21-5651. Fiscal impact, the purchase of the price of the KM-T2 asphalt recycler. If approved, the full cost will be paid from the 2025 Road and Bridge Fund. The remaining available balance in the line item is $522,125.40, which is sufficient to fully support the purchase. This acquisition is expected to reduce future spending of hot mix asphalt and aligns with budget assumptions already incorporated into the fiscal year 2026 Road and Bridge Fund. I can tell you that our last project, Old 83 Annie Shear project, we always keep the millings on a milling overlay project. That project alone, we have over 16,000 tons of millings in our yard. And there's a couple other smaller ones down there also.
Questions for the interim director? If I understand correctly, we have 16,000 tons of millings that we could use. We could also sell those, right?
No,
Why not?
we've never sold millings. We have been.
You want to recycle them and
Recycle them, yeah. We do recycle them, use them on our dirt roads. We do mix them, put them in a mix and use them on our dirt roads. We have never sold any of the millings. We do, like I said, we'll use this for our patching. We went over to Kearney County. They have one of these machines, and we actually got to watch them work this machine. They load the millings in there, put the rejuvenator in there, heat it up, mix it in a drum. Works real well for the patching. We can also, if the hole isn't beat out too far, if it's just alligator or something like that, we can mill it out, use that material as well. But no, to answer your question, we've never sold any of the millings.
with the cost of the millings on an annual basis of $22,000 in '24 and only $10,000 to date, that's less than 10% of the cost of the machine for just purchasing the other repairs. What's the difference for an ordinary commissioner like me to see the difference between buying from vendors and putting it on versus us using this new $100,000 machine?
Well, we have a lot of the material that on hand that we have already that we could use. We also have had issues where we were unable to get material. One particular day, we had a hole dug out, was waiting on 30 tons of material. At the same time, I was in contact with the city. They were waiting on 50 tons. A local vendor had broken down, and so we were stuck with some pretty significant holes out there.
So, question, so when you decide to use this for patching, you mix it at the lot and then take it out, or?
And we will also take, like what we see in Kearney County is take a bobtail with some millings with this, and then we'll just dump some out in a skid steer and load it and just keep going as we need it.
So you can pull it around with.
Yes, it's a trailer you pull with a pickup, yeah.
Okay.
You know, one of your examples just created a business opportunity for me or for us when you mentioned that the city was waiting on the same vendor that you were. Should you get this machine, would you be able to provide that service to the city for a cost or maybe even a deal for them as a tax supporting entity as opposed to them using a
And
private
I believe
vendor?
the city has one also. We didn't get a chance to see them using theirs. We just had known that Kearney County, and they had offered. We had talked to their director at a meeting, and he said that they were going to be using their patch machine. But I believe the city has one also. I just haven't seen it operate, so I didn't know that for sure. I just didn't want to, you know.
So when you use this machine to patch, you'll have to also take a packer or something with you to?
Yes, yep. And which, like I say, for the smaller patches, we have the small packers. You know, we do have ways of patching those. We would probably, on a big project, like say, you know, if we have to use our bow mag to mill out a long area, we've used our equipment to pack it, like, you know, the parking lot down at the fairgrounds, we used a motor grader to actually pack that one.
That was one of the questions now that you mentioned. I should have asked you about the motor graders. These new ones, they're capable of having the packers attached to the back?
Yeah.
Because I remember that was.
Yeah, and our trade-ins, yeah, with the Scarefire and the Packers, we kept those on the ones that we were gonna trade in or sell, and those will go on our new machines.
Would you be able to use this machinery to do some minor repair work to the parking lot down at the exhibition building?
Yeah, small.
Because it
small
really
areas,
needs it.
Yeah, it would be able to use, yeah,
I think you need to grind the thing up and just.
yeah.
Well, I've heard just turn it back to gravel would be perfect, yeah.
Use the.
I have a question regarding Chairman Schultz's comment about, is there a market to sell those millings at all?
We've been asked if we would sell millings. We've had people call and ask if we could sell millings. Yeah, I don't know what that entails for the county to do that, but.
Yeah, it would just depend on how much material would be available to sell and if it would be at a profit for us or if it would, we could definitely dig into that if that's an additional revenue source we can identify.
Okay, very good. I'm assuming that the freight would be expensive. I know in construction, the dirt is real cheap, but the freight is expensive to move it. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the presentation from Mr. Brungart with regard to the purchase of this machine?
I would just like to make a motion to approve alternative one, especially considering that we might be able to use this for repair work at the exhibition building parking lot, although I don't want that included in my motion, but I would like to move that we approve alternative number one.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve alternative number one. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
Thank you.
Motion carries. We're going to take a break at this point. Derek and everyone here, we will recess and we will convene at 5 after 10. Thank you. Back to order. And Derek, you have the floor. You got some gentlemen here with you, so please proceed.
Good morning, Commissioners. So the governing body is asked to consider and approve Resolution Number 35-2025, authorizing the offering for sale of general obligation sales tax bonds, Series 2026-A. So Finney County held a special question election on November 4th, 2025. A majority of qualified electors, 2,751 voting in favor for and 966 voting against, approval issuing sales tax general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $87,500,000 for improvements and renovations to the county's jail facility and law enforcement center, related necessary improvements, temporary relocations, and financing costs. Voters also approved a 0.5% countywide retail sales tax dedicated to funding all or a portion of these project costs and the associated debt service. In preparation for the financing process, the county previously selected Stiefel, Nicholas & Company, Incorporated as underwriter, and bond counsel has prepared the resolution authorizing the offering for sale. The resolution enables the underwriter, in coordination with county administration and bond counsel, to prepare the preliminary official statement and begin all required preliminary actions. Because market timing may require flexibility, the resolution authorizes the chairman to confirm the sale and execute a bond purchase agreement within established parameters, a principal amount not to exceed $87.5 million, and a true interest cost not exceeding 4.5%. So there are three alternatives for the governing body to choose from. 1, the governing body may approve Resolution 35-2025, authorizing the offering for sale of general obligation sales tax bonds, Series 2026-A, including preparation of the preliminary official statement and authorization for the chairman to confirm the sale within the established parameters. 2, the governing body may deny approval of Resolution 35-2025. If denied, the county would not proceed with the voter-authorized financing at this time, and staff would wait for the direction. And 3, the governing body may give staff further direction. It is staff's recommendation that the governing body approve Resolution 35-2025, authorizing the offering for sale of general obligation bonds, and authorize the chair to confirm the sale within the parameters established. So the fiscal impact, the issuance will provide financing for the voter authorized project in the amount not to exceed $87,500,000, and debt service will be paid from the 0.5% countywide retailers sales tax beginning April 1st, 2026, or as soon thereafter as permitted by law. No general fund impact is anticipated. Bond and interest fund GL codes will be issued upon issuance. Will be used upon issuance. And I'm happy to answer any questions, and I have bond counsel Garth Herman with Stiefel here to answer any questions.
Commissioners? I don't have any questions. Great to me.
Yeah, you have no questions? Okay.
I would like to make a motion that we approve alternative 1.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 35-2025 as proposed by the administrator and approved by bond counsel. To issue general obligation sales tax bonds, Series 2026-A, including preparation of official statements and authorization for the chairman to confirm the sale within the established parameters. Is there any further discussion? We will take a roll call vote on this issuance of the bonds and confirmation of this vote. Commissioner Utes.
Aye.
Commissioner Basque.
Aye.
Commissioner Gurman.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
And Chairman, yes. Motion carries.
So the governing body is asked to consider and approve Resolution 34-2025, authorizing the levy of a 0.5% countywide retailer sales tax. So a special question election held on November 4th, 2025 resulted in voter approval to impose a 0.5% countywide retailer sales tax dedicated to funding costs associated with improvements and renovations to the county's jail facility and law enforcement center, related necessary improvements, temporary locations, and debt service for the associated bond issuance. Kansas statutes KSA 12-187 authorize counties to levy such a tax for these purposes. Upon adoption of the resolution, the county clerk must provide certification to the State Director of Taxation for the implementation beginning April 1st, 2026, or soon thereafter as permitted by law. The tax will terminate once all financing obligations for the project have been satisfied. So there are three alternatives for the governing body to choose from. One, the governing body may approve Resolution 34-2025, authorizing the levy of the 0.5% countywide retailer sales tax and direct the county clerk to certify the resolution to the State Director of Taxation. Two, the governing body may deny approval of Resolution 34-2025. If denied, the voter authorized revenue source would not be implemented and alternate financing methods would need to be considered. And three, the governing body may give staff further direction. It is staff's recommendation that the governing body approve Resolution 34-2025, authorizing the levy of the 0.5% countywide retailer sales tax and direct the county clerk to certify the resolution to the State Director of Taxation. And the revenue generated from the sales tax will be used to fund project costs and debt service for improvements and renovations to the county's jail facility and law enforcement center. Collection will begin April 1st, 2026, or soon thereafter as permitted by law, and will terminate once all financing obligations have been fulfilled. No general fund impact is anticipated.
Questions for the administrator?
I would like to make a motion that we approve alternative number one. The governing body may approve Resolution 34-2025, authorizing the levy of the 0.5% countywide retailer sales tax and direct the county clerk to certify the resolution to the State Director of Taxation.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve alternative number one as stated in the well-worded motion. We will do this one again by roll call vote because of its impact on our community and for the record. Any further comments from commissioners? No. Left to right, Commissioner Oots.
Aye.
Commissioner Basque.
Aye.
Commissioner Gurman.
Aye.
Commissioner Jones.
Aye.
The chairman, yes. Motion carries. We'll sign the resolution.
Okay, the governing body is asked to consider and approve the purchase of approximately 14 acres of property owned by Wheatland Electric Cooperative Incorporated for the purpose of constructing the new Finney County Jail by authorizing the county chair to sign the real estate sales contract in the amount of $483,000. The Board of County Commissioners has directed staff to pursue the development of a new standalone jail facility to accompany the remodel of the existing law enforcement center. This direction follows extensive due diligence, needs assessments, third-party architectural evaluations, and multi-agency discussions from 2024 through 2025. Collectively, this work confirmed the need for a modern, purpose-built detention facility located at a site that supports long-term operational efficiency and reduced lifecycle costs. To support this effort, the LEC and Jail Site Selection Committee conducted an independent evaluation of potential site options. The committee used a standardized scoring matrix that assessed land cost, infrastructure needs, proximity to essential services, neighborhood impacts, and long-term land use compatibility. Each criterion was weighted equally, and the process was designed to ensure objectivity and consistency in how potential locations were measured. Through this data-driven process, one area clearly emerged as the highest performing option. The property now under consideration, a 14-acre tract described in the real estate sales contract, is located within an area identified by the committee as best meeting the county's long-term operational and facility needs. The tract is being offered by Wheatland Electric Cooperative for a negotiated purchase price of $483,000 as outlined in the contract. The agreement specifies that the property must be used for the construction of the new county jail, and the title will revert to the seller if it is used for any other purpose. Stakeholder involvement throughout the process included the Sheriff's Office, Garden City Police Department, Emergency Management, Finney County Public Works, Finney County Facilities, or Building and Maintenance, the City of Garden City, external jail design consultants, and the Independent Site Selection Committee. Each contributed operational requirements, feasibility information, or site-specific considerations that informed the final recommendation. So there are three alternatives for the governing body to choose from. The governing body may approve the purchase of the 14-acre Wheatland Electric property by authorizing the county chair to sign the real estate sales contract in the amount of $483,000 for the construction of the new Finney County Jail. 2, the governing body may deny the purchase and direct staff to resume evaluation of an alternative parcels. And 3, the governing body may give staff further direction and request additional information, modifications, or supplemental analysis prior to taking action. It is staff's recommendation that the governing body approve the purchase of the Wheatland Cooperative Incorporated property by authorizing the county chair to sign the real estate sales contract in the amount not to exceed $483,000 for the construction of the new Finney County Jail. Funding for this land purchase is available in the GL 158-00-5688, which is designated for the LEC construction and renovation. The current balance of this fund is $757,478, which is sufficient to cover the $483,000 purchase price. Because the authorized 0.5% countywide resales tax will not begin collection until April 1st, 2026, and revenues will not be remitted to the county until a later date, this acquisition will be temporarily funded through GL 158-00-5688, and upon receipt of sales tax proceeds, that GL account will be reimbursed for the land acquisition costs in accordance with the permitted use of revenue generated from the 0.5% countywide retailer sales tax. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions for the administrator?
No, Mr. Chair, though, you've been waiting for a long time. Would you announce the physical location to the community, please?
As demonstrated on the photo now being shown, this is an area of Kansas Avenue and VFW Road, and it is 14 acres. It is the completion of a lot of work to get the site located that serve the needs of the law enforcement community, including Sheriff Steve Martinez and his staff, Courtney Pruitt as chairman of the LEPC for emergency planning purposes, and the police department, as well as EMS and the people that serve this proposed facility. All the other sites were evaluated. This one was the best. This one had plenty of price tag to it, but we appreciate the willingness of the Wheatland Board of Directors and their officers and directors, including Kara's friend, Mr. McVeigh, and the lawyers have worked out the details of this contract, and I think that it should be approved. There's the announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Another note, too, on that is the committee, and kudos to former Commissioner Dwayne Drees that led this committee. There were several sites that were evaluated. We went through various processes to identify this as the best location for the jail. So kudos to the process that we used. So with that, Mr. Chair, I would make the motion that we approve the purchase of the 14-acre Wheatland Electric property by authorizing the county chair to sign the real estate sales contract in the amount of $483,000 for the construction of the new Finney County Jail.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the proposed contract for the purchase of the land for the new Finney County Jail. Is there any further discussion? Council, you note that part of the contract here provides that the contract has a reservation clause, that if it's not used for the jail, the title reverts back to the purchaser, correct?
That's correct, and they would, it would revert back, but with payment of whatever the amount that we're paying them, they would pay back, so it's not an automatic revert. They would have to pay for it at the same rate that we're paying for it at this point with no interest on that.
I understand. That's in parlance used as a fee simple determinable title. Is that what we're acquiring?
Yes.
All right. Since we have bond counsel here, I'm going to have to ask a rather direct question. Derek, if you would invite them. Sir, I've never purchased property with a fee simple determinable, and counsel advises me that you have approved the purchase of the land with such a title reversionary clause. Is that correct?
Yeah, Garth Herman with Gilmore and Bell, the county's bond counsel. That is correct. The form of the title of the property, and in this case, that specific sort of reverter, that will not have any impact on the bonds issued to finance that purchase price.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
Glad you're here. It's not that I don't believe Ms. Schartz. It's just that I like to have it on record of you saying that it's not a problem, especially about 30 years from now. Are there any other questions for Derek under this proposed purchase of this land for the new facility? Commissioner Oots, as a person that served on this LEC committee, would you be so kind as to make a motion, sir?
I did already.
You did, and who
Yes,
seconded it?
I did.
Well, isn't that a nice thing that the chairman forgets to have pending motion? And that's alternative one. Thank you, Vice Chairman. Any further discussion? No further inquiry of bond counsel or counsel for the commission? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you return that? You don't have to get up for this one. Mr. Ramos, your administrator's report, sir.
I would like to invite Brett Shogren with Stifel to give a presentation on bond financing.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Brett Shogren with Stifel Public Finance out of Wichita. We've had a long history with the county, as far back as 30 years that I can document, with our team helping you finance large projects with general obligation bonds and other sales tax general obligation bonds like we're talking about today. This particular project has been a long time coming. We worked with Gary previous to Derek, and think we started developing plan of finance, sales tax assumptions, how we're going to finance this project back in March or April. And that's when the decision was made to proceed with the election and go forth from there. And, you know, projecting interest rates and sales tax assumptions and things like that far in advance is a little scary sometimes, especially with a project of this magnitude. But I'm pleased to say that the market is better now than it was back then. So much better than the alternative. I passed around some folders during your break. The information on the left is just some high-level market update information that our trading desk and our economists put together. Just, you know, some light reading, but talks about some general information about, you know, the Federal Reserve and just some interest rate, MMD levels compared to treasuries and things like that. And on the second page is the bond buyer index. This is a 20-year yield on an A-rated bond. And it kind of gives the 30-year history in the top graph, and then the bottom graph is the last 2 years. This is on a national level. Kansas bonds tend to get a little bit more respect than this. So I think a Kansas bond would be a little bit better than this. And also the county currently doesn't have any bonds that are rated, but your last credit rating you got from Moody's was a AA3 rating. So this is an A-rated level. You'd be 2 notches better than this. The higher the rating, the lower the interest rate you get. So, but this just kind of gives you a trend on what interest rates have done, tax-exempt interest rates have done in the last 30 years. So just some information on that. On the right-hand side, there are 2 sheets, and I folded them in half because they're legal size to hopefully make them a little bit more legible. The one in the back is just the calendar of events that's going to show, you know, the processes and the steps that are going to be taken from now until the bonds close in early March. The highlighted dates represent what the county commission will have to act on. The rest of them are just administration and processes that we take in our office. But the real part that I want to discuss with you is the spreadsheet, and there's 4 or 5 sheets in this. I apologize, I'm going to give you a crash course on municipal bond financing and the sales of municipal bonds and how they're priced. And it's going to be a lot of information, so I apologize for that, but it's important. The first page is the original plan of finance that we developed with Gary based on what we think a half-cent sales tax would generate. And the half-cent sales tax would have generated last year about $6.2 million. And so we started with that. We looked at historical aspects and what we could assume for growth. we determined that a 1.5% growth factor would be appropriate, and I'm comfortable with that, being as how inflation is usually higher than 1.5%. So just general inflation should track with that. But as historically, your county's grown closer to the 4 to 5% range. So we feel like that's a conservative number. And so we assumed that sales tax growth, and we kind of backed into the structure of a bond issue that we would need for an $87.5 million project. And we came up with basically a 21-year bond. You would need a 21-year bond at a 5% interest rate to conservatively pay off this obligation. And the first year, we used some capitalized interest and just made an interest-only payment, because the first year, you're not going to start generating sales tax until April 1st of next year. And usually there's a couple months to get the pump started. It usually takes a couple months for you to start seeing sales tax roll in. So we were really conservative on the principal and interest payments for next year. And if we are conservative, that should start getting your sales tax fund started. And we'll talk about that kind of rolling sales tax fund here in just a second. But basically, we estimated, because we didn't know what interest rates were going to do since last April, we estimated conservatively a 5% interest rate on this financing. And as I said, that's a 21-year bond. If we were to use those sales tax receipts, pay a roughly $6.2 million payment in the first year, and you generate $6.3 million, you have a little bit left over, and basically you would carry over next year about $580,000. And it would continue to go, going forward. We estimate that you would have approximately $110,000 to $150,000 each year in excess of the bond payments to carry over year to year. If you have a dip in sales tax collections, then you'd have a little bit of reserve. You wouldn't have to levy that to the taxpayers. Trying to be as conservative as we can. And I think we're pretty conservative with this. And basically, as you can see in the far right-hand column on the spreadsheet, that shows what we anticipate the sales tax account balance would be. We're assuming that you're going to put those sales tax balances into a bank account and invest it. We're assuming at 2%, you should be earning between 3 and 4% today. So again, conservative. But we assumed 2% money investing on that sales tax balance. And as that grows, once you hit a certain point to where you're able to pay off the bonds in advance, you're obligated to do that. Once you collect enough sales tax to pay off the financing, you pay it off, and then the obligation would no longer be outstanding. So that's the plan.
And the sales tax would end at that point.
The sales tax would end at that point.
Correct. Thank you.
Yeah, around that point. You can only change sales tax every quarter. So, but yes, basically when they're paid off, the sales tax ends. And with this assumption, and we also assumed reinvesting the bond proceeds after we closed the bonds. Really the architects and the construction companies are really just getting started with the plans, and it's going to take a few years to build the project. And so you're going to get all of the money up front, and we're going to reinvest those bond proceeds until they're needed for construction. And again, conservatively, I estimated earning 3% for 1 year. I think you'd earn, if we can invest it today, between 3.5% and 4%. And I doubt that the jail is going to be built in 1 year. I bet it's going to take longer than that. So again, conservative assumptions. But based on this structure, to pay all cost of issuance, fund the capitalized interest, using that reinvestment of bond proceeds, we'd issue $87,500,000 to build an $87,500,000 project. And it just worked out that provides about $31,000 in contingency. On the bottom, in the green, highlighted in green, that's the contingency amount. That is amount over and above that can be used as a project contingency or to enhance the projects identified in the ballot language. I highlighted that because we're going to talk about that in the other pages. Okay, that's the original plan of finance. If we were to sell bonds, par bonds at 5%, this is what it'd look like. On the next page, I asked our trading desk a couple weeks ago, I said this bond election passed, what could we price those bonds at today? And I told you this is gonna be a crash course in bond finance and bond pricing. Bonds are priced with a coupon and a yield, okay? The coupon is the rate of interest that the county will pay on the debt. The yield is like the market rate on the bonds. And buyers of the bonds usually don't want to buy bonds at the market rate. They will pay a premium to get a higher coupon for the cash flow, okay? And so our trading desk said our buyers today really like 5% coupons. And if we can sell 5% coupons, we could sell those bonds at yields between 2.66% and 4.37%. And for simplicity, the 2027 bond, if it was an $1,815,000 bond, 5% to yield 2.66, they would sell that bond at 103.583 cents on the dollar, and the buyer of that bond would pay a $65,031 premium. They'd pay an extra $65,000 to get that higher coupon. That premium is basically cash to the county. They can use that towards the project, or if they want to offset that higher coupon, they can reduce the size of the issue by roughly $65,000. You reduce the principal with the higher interest rate, okay? And the rest of the maturities are priced the same way. As you can see, the price goes up as the maturities go down, and the total premium in this scenario, if we issued all of the bonds, we kept the financing structure the same as the original plan of finance at the 5% coupons, we'd generate $7,836,691 in premium. As I said, that's cash that goes straight to the county as part of the financing, the sales tax, law enforcement center, project estate, and can be used, in this case, I would say, as a contingency to the project. It's a big project. It was designed and everything about 9 months ago, probably. There could be cost overruns. It could come in under budget. We don't know. But you're in a situation where we can keep the structure the same as the original project or the original financing plan and have roughly $7.8 million in a contingency. That's an option, okay? As I said before, you can use that premium to reduce the size of the issue, reduce interest cost, and lower your contingency amount. On the second page, I ran a scenario where you just maybe want to keep half of the contingency. You want to keep half of the premium. We can reduce the size of the issue. It now turns into a 19-year bond because we can get rid of those last two maturities. We're reducing the size of the issue by roughly $7.9 million, by roughly $4 million. Using the same sales tax assumptions, everything the same, we reduce the size of the issue, and now we deposit just a little over, or I would say a little under $4.1 million in contingency into the project fund. Use it as contingency or to enhance the project, however you'd like to do. But it reduces the size of the issue, reduces the interest cost, but still gives you a little bit of flexibility for the project. And then the next page, you said, we don't want to keep any of the premium, or we want to reduce the size of the issue by the full premium amount. We want to build it for $87.5 million. We don't want any contingency dollars. We want to reduce the size of the issue. We did that. In this scenario, brings it down to an 18-year bond. You've got $4,600 in the contingency. That's basically just a rounding amount because we sell bonds in $5,000 increments. But further reduce the size of the issue by that premium. That's a crash course on, how bonds are priced, what you can do with the contingencies. I think this gives you a lot of flexibility as far as, getting the project done, working with potential cost overruns, or maybe enhancing the project in certain manners once you start really designing it. Another option, I don't want to throw too many options at you, but another option is you can reduce the size of the issue as much as you'd like. In this case, if you reduce it by the full premium amount, we'd only be issuing $79,420,000 in bonds and still funding the $87,500,000 project using that premium. The voters approved to issue no more than $87,500,000. So you would still have the authority to issue that last, roughly $8 million if you did have cost overruns towards the end of the project and you needed additional funds to complete the project. We could come back and issue another set of bonds up to that $87,500,000. So those are the options. You don't have to make any decisions today. You can chew on this for, a couple weeks and inform your administrator, what kind of target you'd like to have as a contingency. And whenever we price the bonds, we'll structure the deal that way and get you as close to that contingency amount as we can without, exceeding the plan for the sales tax and making sure you don't have to levy anything to the taxpayers.
Do you or bond counsel have a recommendation of which level is appropriate for this size of project?
It's all legal. I think that's more of a question for the architects and the construction companies. Our clients typically like that contingency aspect, especially if you can fit it in with we're usually working with property tax. We're working with mill levies, and as long as you can fit it within the mill levy that you promise the taxpayers, they usually like to keep as much contingency as they can. In this case, we're trying to stay within the sales tax parameters, and keeping all the premium in this case still stays in with the parameters that we planned for the original plan of finance. So I don't know if there's, potential cost overruns that are being planned for. I know architects, they like to have as much flexibility as they can because they are planning for a large project far in advance, and, but if I had to recommend something, I'd recommend probably one of the smaller amounts, maybe half of it, or maybe reducing it and then coming back at a later date if you do need more money at a later date. There's some risk with that because if interest rates go up, you may be paying more in interest. We can't control that, and that could be, a year and a half or 2 years down the line. But I'd probably recommend one of those two options.
All right. Any comments on that, bond counsel?
No, he did a great job.
All right, thank you. Questions for our presenters? That's our crash course to a pilot. We don't like using that word crash. So why don't we call it the synopsis?
That works for me.
All right, are you coming back on the 17th for the actual resolution approving the issuance of the bonds, or are we set to be able to do that on the 17th of February?
Oh, well, February?
The time-
Oh, yes. I'm planning to come back for that meeting. Yes. And I guess I could run through this calendar if you'd like.
No need,
Okay. Because we'll price the bonds shortly before that, and then I'll come back for that meeting.
But my question to you is, on the 10th, you have on this that the chair signs the executive bond purchase agreement. We're going to reorganize, have a new chair.
Okay.
The chair needs to have board authority in order to sign this. When do we authorize the chair to sign the bond purchase agreement as on this outline is on February 10th, for which we don't have a meeting?
The resolution you approved earlier today authorizes the chairman, whoever it is at that time,
All right.
to sign the bond purchase agreement.
That was my question.
Correct. Okay.
Very good.
So So that should be taken care of. Any other questions? Kind of makes sense, kind of? Okay. It's, for me, I do it every day, but it, you know, if you don't do it every day, it's complicated and confusing, but I hope to explain it in a way that you can understand.
That is very helpful.
Great.
Well, where you're dealing with sales tax instead of mill levies, it would be interesting because sales tax can fluctuate.
It can, but we tried to build in a little buffer there. We're not using all of it every year. And hopefully the carryover, even if you do have, you know, a downturn at some point, there should be enough carryover to take care of that. Okay?
Any other questions for the presenter? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Back to you, sir.
That concludes the county administrator's report.
Meetings and events, Madam Clerk.
I would just point out that I added the legislative coffees that'll be coming up starting in January, so those are always a good thing for us to attend.
Okay, and also note that the January meeting on the 20th is on a Tuesday,
That's correct.
and the 5th is a Monday, is it not?
It is.
And Vice Chair, I'll be absent, so you'll need to make sure we have a quorum, please.
On January 5th?
On
You'll
January
be
5th,
absent.
I'll be gone.
Will our joint meeting be on the 20th as well?
The 20th of January is what we were looking for a joint meeting. Are we hosting? Okay. So for now, we'll leave agenda setting meetings kind of on the Monday before, scheduled Monday meetings at 10. That'll be subject to the chair's call next year. So we'll plan on the 13th for planning. And what day would we plan for the January 5th meeting? I would suggest that since you're running the meeting, that you do the planning session, Vice Chair.
Okay.
What date are we doing planning on in December for the January 5th meeting?
That would be on the 8th at,
No.
Are we looking at
I'm looking at
29th
the
for that?
planning for December,
oh, for January
If
5th.
the
we
January
follow
5th
the
meeting,
usual-
because
Unless that doesn't work for.
I need to get it on Vicky's schedule.
24th, you guys need to meet on the 24th.
Well, I would imagine, since it was the vice chairman's call as to when they're gonna have their planning meeting, that she would decide that, senior. So when are you meeting for planning?
I kind of like the 29th.
It should be the 29th, yes.
What time do you?
It is at 9,
9?
10 a.m., sorry.
I'm good with whatever you guys want.
We usually do 10, so, but it's up to you.
I can do 10. Thank you.
I'll get you a meeting invite.
Okay.
Then the planning will be on the 12th at 10. Does that fit correctly, Dory?
Yes.
Yeah, all right, very good. We'll go from there. We got the schedule. Any other meetings or events? All right. So, Madam Counselor, is there need for an executive session
There is.
and purpose?
That'll be for attorney-client matters. We will have both from Folston Siefkin in there, as well as myself, for that attorney-client. We'll also need the county administrator, the board, and then to start off at the beginning of that one, we have some information that we'll need to gather from other individuals. And so for at least the first portion of that meeting, we'll need to have Lana Duvall from Economic Development and Mackenzie Phillips, the Development Coordinator for Finney County, in there for at least a portion of the meeting as well. If we want to start off with 30 minutes for that, but I don't know how much question-wise everyone will have. We may need to extend it, but if we start off with 30 minutes, that'll at least get us started.
Okay, so Lana, Mackenzie, Counselor, Ms. Voth, Attorney, and the Administrator, as well as the Board. Did I miss anything? For 30 minutes?
Nope, you got it.
All right, motion to go into executive session with the five persons identified for a length of 30 minutes for attorney-client privilege.
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded to go into executive session for 30 minutes with the five persons identified for a period of 30 minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're in executive session. Be back in 30 minutes. Go back into regular session.
So moved.
Second. Oh,
Moved and seconded, go into regular session. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. I'll confirm that no action was taken during the executive session on attorney-client matters. Last on our agenda is to have our commissioners' reports. We'll go right to left. Senior?
I attended the legislative review session in Liberal. It was well attended. Had a lot of legislators there, and they've got an interesting year coming up. It looks to me like they've got a lot of issues they're going to have to deal with. So, and everybody's running for governor.
Everybody.
almost everybody.
Well, and with KLPG, we have Vice Chairman sitting with us. Look forward to his reports in the future on that.
And also, we have a construction meeting this afternoon at 1:30, I think, for the county health building and EMS building. So if somebody wants to attend, take my spot, would be great.
I'm going to ask Commissioner Basque if he would volunteer since he subbed for you last time. Can you make that work?
At what time again?
1:30 today?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Other than that, that's all I've got.
I attended Economic Development Board meeting, of course, and some exciting things going on there. We did have a really good presentation by Shannon Dick regarding the impact that Finney County economic development has had, and he's going to fine-tune that report. We'll be able to see that at the annual meeting in January, which we don't have a date yet, but we're working on that. I attended the Planning Commission meeting. It's a good meeting, other than at the very end, it went really bad because John Persisto and noticed that he's resigning and moving away. So we're losing one of our planners, unfortunately. But we're happy for him. I also attended the Thanksgiving luncheon here with all the staff and elected officials, and that was really awesome. Great time to get to know some of the folks who work here. That's all I have.
Commissioner?
I have nothing new to report.
Commissioner?
I also attended the Thanksgiving gathering with the county employees, elected officials. Great job by the county. That was a great get-together. I attended by Zoom the Great Plains Development, Inc. Board meeting. They're working on various developments in southwest Kansas and just finishing up year-end work. I also had the opportunity to represent Finney County as we support the Crystal Apple Award for our educators. There were over 180 educators from Garden City and Holcomb that were nominated for that process. And they processed it down to 6, which was a very interesting process they used. They did a blind application process. They took out the names and just went through the different applications. And the 3 winners was Matt Dela Cruz from Alta Brown, Megan Ford from Jenny Barker, and Debbie Tidwell from Holcomb Elementary. So congrats. I also attended the grand opening of the refinery. What an amazing place. If you have not been there, try to make a walkthrough. It was, the actual grand opening date would have been Cecil's 97th birthday, which was a great day for Garden City to have this. Great contributions from both the O'Brate family as well as City of Garden City, and what the city did to help make this come to fruition. There's a notable bronze statue of both Cecil and Francis in front of the refinery. Just a beautiful, remarkable place. It's another reason to be a resident of Garden City.
Wonderful. We had a great opportunity to share with the employees during the Thanksgiving luncheon, and it's good to meet new people. We have 238 dedicated employees working and serving the community as county employees. And I think that we now and then should make sure they understand we appreciate their hard work. All right, meetings are set. Bring your lunch on December 15th. We may be going quite a while. As I'm told by the administrator, we have a full agenda as well as another session with council. So with that, is there a motion? Is there any other business before the commission?
Reminder, chili feed at the Historic Museum today?
Today at noon. Yeah, are you gonna make that, or is, well, you'll just,
Miss it for the first time
in 11 years for you?
in there, however long they've been serving.
Okay, all right. Any other business before the commission? Motion to adjourn, then, Vice Chairman?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.